Hello, welcome to Camera Confidence, Confidence Boosts. I'm Caroline Prisabella, founder of Camera Confidence. So at Camera Confidence, we help job hunters to harness hope, gain camera confidence, ace their video interviews, and get that job. And what I do with Confidence Boosts is I encourage job hunters in the area of mindset, as well as in the area of hope building skills. So they're the two main points with Confidence Boosts: mindset skills and hope building skills. So I wanted to share with you today about expecting to win. What are you expecting? Are you expecting to win, or are you expecting to lose? What are you expecting? Now, when you go for a job interview, do you go into the job interview thinking and expecting that you're not going to get it? Do you go into a job interview expecting that you are not going to do well? When you apply for a job, do you fill out the application, do your resume and letter, and think, I'm not even going to get contacted back about this? What's the point? What are your expectations? Research shows that our expectations can affect our perception of taste, our experience of enjoyment, as well as our performance of tasks. Now, I find this really interesting. Recently, I went horse riding with my daughter. We were away for a couple of nights, and we love to go horse riding when we're away. We don't do it that often, but we found a trail riding place and we went on a trail ride. But what I found was interesting was I went into the trail ride not expecting much. The last trail ride we'd been in, I had been on a horse that didn't really want to do what I asked it to do. And it felt like it didn't like me, obviously. Animals have perceptions, and that particular horse, it just didn't want to move for me that day. And so I went into this particular ride with my daughter, who absolutely loved it. But I went into this ride expecting it to not be good. And do you know what I got? I got a Clydesdale, bless it. It was one of the oldest horses there, and it didn't want to move. So I finished that ride going, I didn't really enjoy that very much. And I was like, why didn't I enjoy it? And it was interesting because as I was doing the preparation for this expectations, it made me think, oh my goodness, I went into that expecting it not to be good. I expected to have a horse that didn't want to comply, and I got what I expected. So what are you expecting today? Expectations are a self-fulfilling prophecy. Did you know that? It's interesting, research shows this. There is a Harvard researcher, Robert Rosenthal, that did some studies on teacher-student dynamics and the expectations. And he found, so this was in the 1960s, but he found that those that went in with lower expectations ended up getting lower results. Makes sense, doesn't it? And those that had a higher expectation for themselves and a higher expectation from the teacher also got better results. So that's really interesting. I find it intriguing because it really does what we expect outworks in our life. So what's the difference between aspirations and expectations? So aspirations are about desire, having a desire to do well. And expectations are about having the belief in the likeliness that you are going to do well. So there was research done by University of Bristol researchers, and they looked at aspirations and expectations, and they also did a research study on teachers and students. And they found those students that had low aspirations, so low desire and low expectation, of course, they didn't do well. And then they also found that students that had low aspirations, so low desire, but high expectations, also didn't do as well as the students that had high expectations and high aspirations. So the two, high aspirations and high expectations, they were the ones that did better. Now, it's really interesting because I look back on my life and I have a beautiful father. I'm very blessed to have a really beautiful dad. He loves me very much. My parents, however, I wasn't very good at school. When I was younger, I'm creative. I wasn't academic. And so therefore my parents didn't expect me to be academic or do well at school. And I didn't expect me to do well. And I didn't do well at school. However, when I was early 20s, I decided I wanted to go back, study, and try and get into uni. So I did a bit of a re-entry course, and so this was early 20s, and I ended up getting in to do my bachelor's. And then later, I ended up doing a master's of law, media, and journalism. So, but I had to really separate myself from the expectations of my parents. My dad, when I said to him, I'm going to do uni, he said, "It's too hard, Caroline, don't do it. It's too hard." And I was like, oh my goodness. So I had to move my own expectations of myself and remove myself from the expectations of my parents and those around me. And it's interesting because now I'm the most qualified out of my siblings in terms of academically qualified, but I was the least likely. Interesting, isn't it? In school, I was the least likely to get a master's. So it really does matter who you surround yourself with. And look, this is not saying anything negative about my beautiful father. I've got an amazing dad and he's an incredible man. And my parents really tried their best for me. They just didn't see in me what I later saw in myself. And that's the reality. We are going to have people around us that don't necessarily believe in us. You might have people close to you that don't believe in you or don't see your vision. However, this is where it's so key for you to believe in yourself and surrounding yourself with the right people who believe that you can achieve everything that you want to achieve. Surrounding yourself with the right people is so key for your life. That's number one. And however, also, you need to raise your expectations. Raise your expectations to expect to win. Go into your job interviews and when you're filling out applications, go in with the expectation to win. Expectations and your expectation of yourself is so hugely important for the final outcome in your life because you do have unique brilliance. It's inside of you. You have to find it. So I encourage you today, expect to win. Raise your expectations. Have an amazing day, and remember to let your brilliance shine.